Namaste and welcome back to the second part of the video on Ruru. In the last video, we saw how Ruru gave half his life to bring back Pramadvara. But what happens when grief turns into vengeance? Ruru swore to kill every serpent he saw, yet one serpent would speak back, and what it said would completely change his resolve. It's not just a tale of revenge, but a reminder that discretion and not anger must guide our actions. Now, let us dive into the second part of Ruru's story from the Mahabharata. After Pramadvara was restored, Ruru carried deep resentment against serpents. Each time he wandered the forest and spotted a snake, he struck it with his staff, killing it without hesitation. To him, every serpent was an enemy, a reminder of the poison that had almost taken his beloved away. But vengeance, once embraced, grows without end. This is where our elders warn us that anger blinds. Instead of seeing the world as it is, we begin to see it only through our wound. One day, Ruru came upon a serpent resting quietly. Staff in hand, he prepared to strike, but the serpent spoke. It said, "Why do you wish to kill me, O Rishi? I have done you no harm. Not all serpents are poisonous. Not all are your enemies. To strike blindly is to be unjust." Startled, Ruru lowered his staff. He asked, "Then who are you?" The serpent replied, "I am Dundubha, of a harmless race. We do not bite. Why do you punish all for the fault of one?" Dundubha's words made Ruru think. The serpent continued, "Injustice is not only when the wicked harm the innocent. Injustice is also when the innocent are punished for the deeds of the wicked. True dharma is not guided by anger, but by discernment." For the first time, Ruru realized that his grief had turned him into what he despised as a rishi, blind and unfair. He dropped his staff and bowed to Dundubha, asking for forgiveness. From then, Ruru swore to follow ahimsa, non-violence, guided not by his wound but by his understanding. Dundubha then asked Ruru to find about Janamejaya, who had also tried to kill all serpents. This moment is a turning point. Love had led Ruru to sacrifice half his life. Grief had led him to anger, but wisdom restored balance. What we learn is this: devotion without discernment can lead to destruction, but when grief is met with reflection, it becomes compassion. Ruru's story shows us that true strength is not in punishing, but in restraining. Not in destruction, but in self-control. This episode prepares us for a pivotal moment in the Mahabharata, which is the great snake sacrifice of King Janamejaya, who also vowed to destroy all serpents. And it is during this very sacrifice that Janamejaya heard the Mahabharata from Vaishampayan, a disciple of Vyasa. This is considered to be the first formal recitation of the Mahabharata to an audience. Just like Ruru, Janamejaya was blinded by grief, and just like Dundubha taught Ruru, Janamajaya's sacrifice was stopped by Astika. Astika taught King Janamejaya the importance of wisdom over anger, and that vengeance against an entire community is never justified. The Mahabharata tells us that vengeance against an entire species or an entire community is never dharma. Wisdom and not anger must guide justice. Kashidas does not talk about Pramadvara's parentage in his Bengali adaptation of the Mahabharata. He just mentions her mother as the Apsara Menaka. Kashidas's telling of the story of Ruru follows the pattern of Vyasa with very small differences. In Vyasa's version, Pramadvara dies some days before her marriage, while Kashidas writes that Pramadvara was already Ruru's wife when she died of the snake bite. Also, while Vyasa says Pramati had Ruru through the Apsara Ghritachi, Kashidas does not give a name for Ruru's mother. The story of Ruru occurs in the Mahabharata in the Adi Parva, in the Paunama Sapparva, which continues into the Astika Sapparva, and Astika Sapparva now introduces Astika. Puranas like Vishnu Puran, Gadura Puran, Matsya Puran, Bhagavata Puran, and the Devi Bhagavat Puran also mention the story of Ruru. The text Kathasarit Sagar also mentions the story of Ruru, and it says Dundubha was a water snake. The story of Ruru and the serpent feels like a reminder for all of us. When something hurts, anger feels natural. We want to strike back, sometimes even against those who did nothing wrong. But real strength is not letting anger take control. That's the change Ruru found in the forest. In our traditions, the forest often stands for the mind itself. It is wild, confusing, full of crossroads. And it is where Ruru faced his grief, his rage, and also, finally, the choice between destruction and understanding. His walk into the forest was really a journey inwards. If you have not seen the first part of the story, where Ruru gave up half his life for Pramadvara, the link is in the description. Thank you for watching. Stories like these from Mahabharata aren't just about the olden days. They make us think about how we live today. If you would like to hear more, subscribe, like, share the video, and in the comments let me know what you think is harder, giving something up or holding yourself back.